Page 14, throwing paper airplanes. Here they are introducing you to the idea of triplets. 3 notes instead of 2. And they show you the symbol for 8th note triplets. Let's just talk a bit about them. Look at the first measure. I mean, it's all over the place. We'll just look at the first measure. Normally with 8th notes, there's 2 8th notes to a quarter note. Now in this case, this piece is in 4/4 time, so a quarter note gets 1 count. So you'd go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Well, with triplets, we got to squeeze 3 notes in that same beat, in that same time period. So instead of 1 and 2 and, now we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So they go a little bit faster, not a lot faster, just a little bit faster than regular 8th notes. All triplets work the same way. It doesn't matter what the note value is. We'll deal with 8th notes. They're probably the most common. So at the beginning of this, so just take the first 2 beats on this. If you look at the notes, you'll realize these are C chords in each hand. They're just a C chord, played 1 note at a time. Right? C chord. Okay, we got the notes down. Don't have to worry about the notes. Let's take the rhythm now then. If it's 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the speed, that's the beat. 8th notes, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Well, triplets is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's there, 1 and 2 and 3 and. Piano players get triplets a lot, and we go back and forth between a triple feel and a regular 2 feel. We call it a duple, triple and duple. So we get pretty good at going from triple to duple. Let's forget the music for a minute. If I just take the first 2 notes and I do regular 8th notes, it's just 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. But if I want to go triplets, then it's 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. And I can go back and forth between those 2. 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. So the triplets are just a little bit faster. And as piano players, we actually get pretty good at going back and forth between the 2. What happens with triplets a lot of times is people don't play them evenly. They'll go. Those aren't triplets. That's 1 and 2 and, or 1E and 2E and, those different. Or they'll go here. Those aren't triplets either. They have to be even. It's 1 and 2 and 3. So be very careful about that. Be even with the triplets. They're also calling it an arpeggio triplet study. An arpeggio is simply a broken chord. We're going from this C to this C, 2 octaves. Look at the first measure. The left hand goes up to play the top C. So that's an arpeggio. Now you can go either way. I can go down. It's an arpeggio. So this is a study for arpeggios. There is, unfortunately, in this piece a rather difficult snag. It's in the left hand and it occurs all over the place. Watch very carefully in the first measure. You have the triplets, then the left hand goes over. Fine, not a problem. You leave your right hand right where it is, that's fine. The problem is the next note. The next note, the left hand has to go back down here. There's no rest, there's no nothing, there's no time to get down there. So you're going from here to here real quick. And that same move on different notes is all over the place. Now there is an advanced fingering technique that would take care of that, but let's go ahead and just learn to do this. So what you got to do is rely on the pedal in this case, because it is all pedaled. And the moment you play that, come down immediately. Don't hold it down like you normally would for a full quarter note. Just play it and then come down immediately, because you got to be there before it's time. So it sounds like that without pedal. It's this. So you get down there. And you have to do that every time is what I'm suggesting. Let's point out a few things in the right hand. At the beginning, the first two measures, the last note in the first measure going to the second measure, look at the fingering. It's 1, 2. You have to do that because there's a beat coming up. Now, in theory, yes, you could play the first C with second finger, but you're already here, and I like the idea of using two fingers on repeated note anyway, and this gives an excuse to do that here. So it's 1, 2. Basically, we're just using the finger that in this hand position, because this is the hand position we were in, and we're just staying there. Because you're going to get this more and more, where you're just going to use whatever finger is on the note you need. Look at the end of the first line. In the last two measures of the first line, when you do this arpeggio here, the second finger in the right hand's on the D. And so that's the finger you're going to use. And you can use it on both notes now because you have the thumb for the C. It's fine. And the next line, the next measure. But now the right hand, you have a thumb and then a second finger again. So watch the fingering here. It's fine, but this may not be what you think it is. I don't want to point them all out. You can find them as you go through it. For the left hand, I've already explained the one hard part, where when you cross over and play that note, just play it and then let the pedal take it from there and get back down for the next beat, because you don't have any time there. Look at the fingering here at the beginning. After the triplets and the crossover, and the hand comes down, you're 1, 3, and then, or 3, I should say 3, 1, and then 2, 1. It's fine. Second line. Look at that. First measure, you're here. Now crossover, it's 3, 1, and then 4, 1. Fine. Go down to the last line. 4, 1. Because you need the 5 for here. So just follow their fingering. It may not be what you think it is, so be careful with it. Now the pedaling, they're keeping the pedaling simple. They're just overlapping everything. But I'd like to adjust it. I want to challenge you a little bit on this pedaling. This piece isn't hard enough, right? You can handle that. You can do more, right? You know. If you're struggling, then forget what I'm about to say about pedaling. Just overlap everything like they're telling you to. Otherwise, I want to change the pedal just a little bit. I want to split it between every two measures. So at the beginning, I'm going to push the pedal down right after I play the notes in the first measure. And then when I go to the second measure, I'm going to play the notes first and then change the pedal. And then when I play the B in the right hand, I'm going to change the pedal right after I play the B. And here's the change. Rather than keeping the pedal down, I'm going to lift the pedal with the hands so there's just a speck of silence in the sound before I go on to the next measure. So the first line doing it this way would be this way. To do that every two measures. I'm going to lift the pedal up with hands so we get just a speck of silence before we go on. I'm kind of doing this to prepare you for phrasing that's going to come in a little later, but it's good practice anyway. I warned you a little bit about the pedaling at the end. It's a little bit different. Look at the last two measures. You're pedaling the last beat and next to the last measure separately. It's overlap pedal. So the last two measures. The right hand has to come down. The right hand's moving. Both hands are moving. We are having a party. Here we go. Dynamics. Look at this dynamics. The first two measures, it's MP, or medium soft. Next two is a little louder than that, not a lot, just a little. Second line, now you're loud, and you're staying loud for the whole second line, so it's like you're building up. So the first two, you're just kind of wherever MP is, you decide. It's medium soft to you. It's a little louder than soft, but a little softer than loud. Wow. And then the third measure over is a little louder than that. And then when when you get to the second line, that's loud. Not as loud as you can get, because there's a lot louder than this. It's just loud, and it stays there until the third line. Now you come back down to medium soft. And then medium loud. And then in the last line, you're loud again. So do the dynamics. They're kind of important. Let's try this out. 4/4 time. Andante, at the top speed, that's kind of a slow. It's not really slow. It's just kind of a leisurely pace. They're slower than Andante, but it's slower than Moderato. Think about just taking a leisurely stroll through the woods or through the park or somewhere wherever you're leisurely strolling, and that's the speed. But so you can decide. They give you metronome marking. The MM is metronome, Metzel's metronome, whatever. Quarter note equals, and then it's a range. It's usually always a range. 72 to 80, somewhere in there. So you put your metronome somewhere in there and experiment. Try different speeds, and you decide how fast you like it to go. So for our purposes, we're going to go really, really slow because I just want to check the notes and the rhythms. And so I'll give us 4 counts. So right hand here, left hand here, foot's on the pedal. 1, 2, ready, and go, and